Alright, so we're sitting at 8:04 on Tuesday morning, and it is, what is it, March 24th. So why don't we get started on drawing. I wonder if you guys saw in the description notes that there's a link to the image. I did post it all over social media last night as well. So we are going to be drawing this Mylar balloon because we're going to be studying and working on shading. So this is a great subject for working on shading. So I'm just going to maneuver the camera a little bit here so it's a little bit closer to me, a little bit easier. So we are going to be using pencil crayons. You might want a sharpener, a white eraser. Again, if you've been watching some of my tutorials and online demos, I cut my white eraser into a triangle so that I always have a an edge to work with, a pointed edge. Because if you use just a regular white eraser and you don't cut it, all of those edges that you really love to use get worn down and get curved, and then your whole big eraser is kind of useless. Okay, so I am going to be using my pencil, and I need to figure out the composition. How big is this balloon going to be? So we just want to, I bet you can barely even see those lines. They are so faint, but you can kind of see the direction in which my pencil is pointing. So yeah, we're gonna do it like that, and the bottom kind of comes to and is not very pointed, but we're gonna add some bits to the bottom so that it looks more like a balloon, and I'd like to add a string, and you'll see that even better once we get going here. Now there's some interesting things happening in this balloon where red is not necessarily just red. Oh, you know what here? I've got the wrong one going on. Okay. Let me just hold on a second, because I have sent myself the wrong Mylar balloon. Oh my goodness. So I'm looking at one that's completely different than the one that's on the screen here. So I told you, I thought I was so good with the technology this morning. Jeepers. Well, let's just hop on to Facebook and grab that. All right. Jeepers. Daphne flubbing up. You're all right. We'll get this all sorted. Oh, there. Okay. So now we're looking at the same balloon and drawing the same balloon. Okay. So there are a bunch of different things happening in this balloon, and one of them is a highlight that goes along here. So I'm drawing really lightly with the red pencil crayon, and then over here as well, you'll notice there's this shape of, it's almost white. I don't know if I point this way, you can see on this side, right directly across from where I'm pointing my pencil, you'll see like a yellowy white highlight, and that's this area here that I've drawn. I don't know if it's better without the light or with the light. Let's go with the light. Okay, so I'm going to take a yellow and I'm going to start off lightly drawing in that highlight. And then, let's just see here if we can. Nope, we're gonna stop trying to fiddle with technology. I think we just need to let it go. And then there's a little bit of yellow at the bottom of this highlight right here as well. And then there are big chunks of orange. So right with that highlight, and I start off drawing lightly, and then I press harder later on when I know I've got everything in the right place. Because if you press lightly, then it's easier to erase. And then look at, there's this whole big shape down at the bottom that we want to put orange into. Do you see how it's kind of lighter? And then around it, there are these dark shapes. That I'm adding a little bit of black, knowing that I'm going to go over top of it later with red. So I have in my mind that I'm going to be doing some layered steps here. And there's some dark stuff up here. And you don't have to be perfect, be sketchy. Show that human hand touch. And then we got to get some of these bumps going here because it is a balloon. So I'm going along the bottom edge up to the top to get these bits here. The edges of the balloon. So if at any time I'm going too fast or you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat section. Look at, I am going to move this over here. And I'll use my eraser and erase a little bit. Putting a few little lines, but they're broken, so it's not a continuous line. That's a really interesting thing that our eyes can do, is that when you have a dotted line, our eyes see it as one continuous line instead of 4 separate lines. It's just the way that our eyes and our brain work. So it's a really interesting thing. Humans are interesting creatures. I'm going to change this so this line here is longer. Editing a little bit. And I see some areas in here. I notice that there's light that comes through here and through here that I want to leave, and I might just take my pencil here and make a little mark, my yellow pencil crayon. And there's lots of like white pinky stuff happening through here, so I want to mark that. And it's a little bit more yellow on this side. Okay, I'm going to go back with that black, and along the edge here of where I started drawing this orange. Just going to mark in the orange really quick just to show you where that goes. And then I'm doing the black along the edge of that, leaving spaces for these white marks here. All right, this area here is quite dark. Some light and some orange right in here. Gets dark in there, but I want to make sure that I leave this space right here being really light, so I want to mark it off right away so I don't forget about it. That little space right there. Okay, now I am going to fill in this orange just lightly. I can always make it darker. Oh, and I see that there's like this area that pops in there that's both black and red. So I add that. So when I notice things, then I add them. That's what drawing is all about. It's a real observational practice. So we're learning about the things around us by drawing them. And right where those light highlights were that we marked with yellow on this side, and you'll be able to see it a little bit better as we get going a little bit farther in our drawing. Right next to them, they continue on, but they get darker. So let's see if you can see that. They get a little bit darker. So they're light at the top, and then it transitions to darker right here. Okay. And I'm going to continue on drawing with the orange pencil. Filling in these shapes. There's a break there as well where it's nice and light. Just really light in this light highlight right in here. All right. Oh, let's not forget this one area here. That's got to be filled in with some orange as well. Okay. Nice. So it kind of looks like a mess right now, But don't worry, we know what we're doing. Now we're going to take the red. You know what? Let's go back to orange. Let's go back to orange and start filling this area in a little bit darker. Pressing a little bit harder. And then we're going to start to develop this highlight over here. This section right here is very, very light, and underneath it is very, very red and very dark. And it's got different transitions between light and shadow, but this here is really light, this here is really light, and this here is really light, and we need to leave those to be the white of the page. And I have a feeling I am going to be sharpening this red pencil crayon a lot. So now I'm starting to press a little bit harder into areas where it's darker. And I'm going to do red over top of this dark bit, coming up here into the orange. And I'm going to take a little bit of red lightly and go this way. And I'm going to come from the other end over here and come towards it again this way. I'm just going to reiterate this zigzagged area right here. And I'm going to come at it from the other side with the orange. And this bottom piece right here has way more black in some areas than in others. And some red that comes down like that. So I'm really just paying attention, trusting my eyes and what I see, and focusing on all of these different types of shapes. And is it more orange, or is it more red, or is it more black? Is it more yellow? And I just keep adding accordingly. So I feel this is a little bit more orange in there and in here. So I add some orange on top. So I just went around that highlight that we had drawn in with our yellow earlier. Seeing that it's a lot darker around here, so I want to add a bit more black. This is very orange right here, so I want to add that in. Really gives it a sense of being these lines here really give it a sense of it being one of those Mylar balloons where it's pulled and it gets those creases. Let's get some more black into there. In between those two lines, there's some right there. And just because I don't want to lose those light lines, I'm going to go around them first. Those light lines that we had drawn in with some yellow, I'm going to go around them first. You know what, I see another like couple of light lines right up here. Let's just make the reference image a little bit bigger so that you can see that there's a few more light lines right up here. So right there, if you could see that. Right directly across from where I'm pointing from, there's some light lines at the top corner, and that's right there. So I'm going to put in a little bit of black in between. And then get drawing some of these things in. Ooh, I see a little piece of orange there that I'll add, and then go back with the red. With the red. And I'm putting some of this red over top of the black that we had done around the edge. need to like make the end of this. So let's do that, and then I'm gonna leave it white and have the base of it right there, so that it looks like there's something tied around the bottom, like that, just making them a little piece right there. Okay, so I'm just gonna start to color really lightly, focusing more on the bottom of this orange bit, and then I'm gonna go in more solidly with the orange. Again, leaving that little light strip right here that I so patiently set aside earlier. Filling it all in, putting more pressure on the pencil so that it's darker. Add a little bit more red to the bottom. And then drawing it in there. So I thought these Mylar balloons would be pretty cool to have and then post in your windows for people who are walking by. I know people are trying to get out and get some exercise while they're being cooped up in their houses. I've been seeing lots of people out on their front lawns putting together exercise equipment that they've ordered, which is kind of funny, I think. Yeah, so this way people will be able to feel maybe a little bit of love and see your creativity and your hard work. And I know all the art galleries are shut down, so it would be really cool to see some art out on when people go for a walk. Just adding a little bit of orange to that area. Okay, I need to sharpen this. How's it going? Are you following along? Is it making sense? Can you hear me sharpening away? Okay, so let's change the shape of this a little bit. It's a little bit more in line with what's happening there on the image. All right. Just getting lost and focusing on this area here. I like to get lost in areas. It's like going on a really cool walk and getting distracted by awesome things. Now I want to fill in these areas right here. I want to leave this highlight. So let's start working our way in. Just again, filling it in quite lightly with red. Trying to get this shape right, a little bit more accurate along the sides here. And then pressing a little harder along these edges here. And there's some zigzags that happen along here. Pressing a little bit harder along the edge here to get that solid. Edge, yeah, just like that. Like that. Now we're filling this in, working our way to the lighter areas. From dark to light. And I see there's like a little strip, triangle, thin triangle that runs along here of orange, of warmer stuff happening. And another one that kind of comes down this way. Kind of dissipates. It all seems to kind of radiate out of this point right here, where it forms like all these different triangles of color and tonal value seem to radiate out from there. So I'm going to keep my lines going in that direction and in that motion to keep that sense going that everything kind of bubbles out from that. I'm just going to take this area a little bit darker. Go back in here with some orange. Go back in here with some orange. Some areas are darker, some areas are lighter. Now, in these areas, it's kind of interesting. So, only do this if you have a white pencil crayon. Okay, if you don't have a white pencil crayon, then don't worry about it and just forget this step. But I'm going to take a little bit of a purple and I'm going to lightly go over these areas here next to the yellow, not on top of the yellow, because it'll, if you put yellow and purple together, they'll just make a brown. So they have to be separate because they're complementary colors on the color wheel. Okay, so if I have this, a bit of purple, and I'm going to put a bit of purple in there, then I can take a red, smear it over top of the purple a little bit, and then take a white and kind of go in circles over top of it, and it will blend it together. And it kind of like beefs up that yellow as well. I hope that you can see that. Let's see here. Make it a little bit bigger. So I'm doing like circular motions and it kind of blends the colors together. Can you see how that happened? I'm going to do that over here for this highlight as well. And then you can use a blending stump, or if you have some Q-tips, you can go to the washroom there and grab some Q-tips if you've got them hanging out, and you can rub the Q-tips into the pencil crayon like that, and it fills up all the little holes that you've got going on. Now, if you are smearing over top like this black and red bit, you don't want to take that and then start smearing over top of your highlights. So you might need a few of these and keep them separate for different colors. And then it'll make it feel really solid and make it feel like a balloon. Let's put a little bit more red into this one. Feels like it's a little too black. And along the edges. Ooh, I need more red in this area. So whenever you come across something that you're like, oh, that needs more of this or that or the other, stop and do it. Don't just keep going because you'll end up wrecking your drawing. So do what you need to do to get it right. It'll pay off in the end. Now I'm going to switch to another end here because I don't want black getting in here. I want it to get lighter and lighter and lighter as it goes closer and closer to that highlight. So because this is lighter, like these I pressed really hard and had lots of red pencil crayon build up in that area. And as I get closer to the highlight, there's not as much red on the surface of the paper because I just skimmed over and did it lightly, but yet it'll still look light and nice when you blend it instead of grainy, because it's not showing, you're pressing all of the pigment into the fibers of the paper and it makes it feel more solid. Now the thing about this is that you have to have everything in its place, because once you start doing this blending with and smudging and smearing with these tools, you can't really erase that. Like once it's down and you have pushed it right into the page, so you are not going to get it up with an eraser. Look at how that works with that orange. Doesn't that look nice and solid now in comparison to this bits of scratchiness? Makes me want to go back in here and see if I can get it a bit more uniform and nice. And I might even take the white pencil and go back into this area to make the light red a little bit more pink, a little bit lighter, like that. All right, let's get back to that orange. Just filling all of that in. All right, I want to add a little bit more red to what's happening up here. Give it a little bit more definition. I'm just going to change the lighting here to see if we can see a difference. There. I must say it does look better in person though. I'm going to put more red at the bottom so that it feels more like it's curving from the bottom up. That's why I'm adding this like red to the bottom here. And then I'm just noticing like a few of my edges. I'm just going to tidy them up. From where I was drawing lightly. There we go. It's just going in with an eraser and tidying up those edges. And then, I think that I want like a light blue string, like kind of white, kind of light blue. Coming down like that. So I just put in a few little marks, one right there, one right here, around this side, and then down. And that gave it a little bit of a tie at the bottom. Gave the whole drawing a bit of a context so that it feels grounded. It's not just floating away. But if you want it to float away, that's okay too. It's your balloon. You can do what you like. I'm going to add a little bit of orange into here. Into here. And into this corner up here. There. Okay. So I have got a Mylar balloon. And that's not too shabby for under an hour's drawing. So there we go. I hope that you guys had fun today drawing this with me. And if you have any suggestions of other subjects that you want to draw, please let me know. I think maybe tomorrow we should do an animal. Some sort of animal. I have no idea what yet. The night before, I like to post the reference image and let you guys know what we're going to be drawing. So please follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, all of those things. And I just, yeah. I'll keep you posted there, and I love hearing your comments, and I love seeing your artwork. So if you want to send me some of your images that you're creating along with me, or even if you just are creating on your own and you want to send me images to look at, please do. I love seeing students' work and sharing it with everybody, because it doesn't just make me smile, it makes other people smile, and it makes them feel like they can do it too. So thank you so much for picking up some colored pencils with me today and drawing with me. I had a great time, and feel free to watch it again. Go back, pause it on in places where you want to keep working if I went a little too fast for you. And yeah, enjoy your day and get creative. Please share this, and make sure that you subscribe as well so that you get notified on all the other videos that are coming up. Have a great day.